call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you'll please rise and join us for invocation from Joe Garkovich from Mercy Today's Ministries, followed by the pledge. Good morning. Push that button right in front.
Okay. Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for another day in which to serve you. As this group of dedicated individuals gathers today to do this important work, we pray that you would bless them with courage, compassion, and wisdom to make the best decisions for all that are involved. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present. Okay, thanks. We move on to approval of the agenda. I do not know of any changes unless either of you do.
Mr. Chair, I also am unaware of any changes we need to make to the agenda for today, so I move to approve.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the consent agenda. If you'll notice under the consent agenda, we are scheduling a public hearing for April 27th for a request for an approval of a zone change. Again, that'll be April 27th at 10 a.m.
Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
I second. With the note, Mr. Chair, I would add to the zone change request for April 27th. That's located at the intersection of State Highway 115 and Telk Road, from agricultural living to agricultural suburban, for anyone who may be interested in that.
Okay, thank you. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now we move on. We'll start with staff reports. County Manager, Ms. Sunny Bryant. Good morning.
Good morning. So just a couple of quick updates. We are still working on the second floor courtroom project. So that project is well underway. It's scheduled to be completed in the middle of April. We have received the 95% drawings for the community center out at Pathfinder Park, and so we have reviewed those, sent back a couple of clarification questions, and we're moving forward with finalizing that. They are scheduled to start moving some dirt out there around the 1st of April, and then they'll actually start the building construction the middle of April, and so that project is moving along quickly as well. So we're in the final closeout of the EPA Brownfields grant. So a couple years ago, we received $600,000 grant from the EPA to do some brownfields assessment. So we actually were able to finish 8 Phase 1 assessments, 13 Phase 2 assessments, and 2 area-wide plans. And so it was a very successful grant program. There were so many individuals involved between the City of Canyon City, the City of Florence, the county, our commissioners, staff. A ton of time was into this program. But we really appreciate everybody's efforts, and like I said, we feel it was a very successful program. And then the last item is we are working to schedule the 2021 cleanup program. And so we are working with the landfill to try to get the vouchers back. We should have some information here over the next week or so on some dates and deadlines and everything for that voucher use. We didn't do that last year due to COVID. We had our building shut down for most of the year and just couldn't quite work everything out. And so this year we actually had budgeted to possibly do a spring cleanup and a fall cleanup. So we'll kind of see how all of that stuff goes as well to hopefully get that program up and running. So we'll have the details posted on the county website. They'll be in the Facebook page. They'll go out in the newspaper, and we'll also put it on the radio station. So as you move forward over the next couple of weeks, look for that information. So that's all I have for my manager report.
May I interrupt? Sorry.
Of course.
I just feel compelled to say at this moment in time that if it wasn't for County Manager Sunny Bryant, that Brownfields grant would never have happened. We would not have been able as a county to put $600,000 into this community to do those studies and those efforts to enable businesses and individuals to know what is happening at their properties. The entire project turned out to be a much heavier lift, I think it would be fair to say, than any of us thought it was going to be originally, and Sunny was pretty much the one that was saddled with the entire burden. So I just want to recognize that, Sunny, and say thank you so much. I think many people here in the community have big thanks to give to you as well, but they don't understand that it needs to be directed your way. So
Well, I
I just want to say
appreciate
thank
that.
you. You do go over and above.
Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. You want to move into the sales and use tax?
All right. So the retail sales tax collections, we've received January's numbers, and in January, they came in at $592,912. And so we had to look at that number 3 or 4 times to make sure that that was accurate. So in that month, it was up $167,159. The auto use tax collections came in at $118,570, which was up $40,564 for February. So year-to-date, we are up $75,027. The construction use tax came in at $22,306, and year-to-date, we are up $15,726. The lodging tax came in at $4,993. So that's up slightly from last year, but that's not a normal quarterly collection. And so those numbers actually would have been for people that hadn't remitted properly in 2020. And then the sheriff 1% sales tax in January came in at $395,275, which was up $111,440 from last year. And then the auto use tax collections came in at $79,047, which is up $27,042 from February of last year. Year to date, we are up $50,018 for that collection. And then the sheriff construction tax for the month of February came in at $14,870. And I apologize for the itty-bitty numbers up there. So this is posted on the website as well if anybody's interested in looking at that. And year-to-date for the sheriff construction use tax, we're up $10,477. So everything seems to be doing well starting in 2021, and we continue to greatly monitor all of this. We have been trying to work with the state still to get some reports that we can do some better assessments just to truly analyze exactly where everything's coming from and all of that. So we will continue to pursue that piece.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Sunny on that or comments? Nope. All right. Thank you, Sunny. We'll move on now to our Public Health Director, Ms. Kayla Marler, to give us an update. Good morning.
Morning, Kayla.
Good morning. Okay, are you ready for me to bore you with some numbers? So right now we have 33 active community cases within the last 14 days. We have 0 new cases within DOC, and we have 0 new hospitalizations. We do have 1 active hospitalization. So for our total community COVID-19 total cases from start till now is 2,451. DOC is 3,102. And total hospitalizations is 140. Of the hospitalizations, we've had 108 community, 22 that are DOC or out of our federal prison, and 10 that come from our long-term facilities. We've had 0 new deaths and a total of 53 from the beginning. 21 of those were community, 12 DOC, and 20 long-term. As of 3/20, MACO has done a total of 13,912 COVID-19 tests. Last week, we seen Tuesday, our highest testing day, which was 50, and then Saturday, we had 15 that were tested. So right now, we're seeing anywhere from 15 to 50 throughout the week, which is a completely different number than what we were seeing months ago. As of yesterday at 4:07, FCDPHE has provided 7,471 first and second doses. Fremont County, throughout the entire county, not counting DOC or our federal prison, there has been 16,844 first and second doses completed throughout all of the COVID vaccine providers. Upcoming vaccine clinics, we've had some individuals reach out to us to get back out to Howard. And so we'll be going out to Howard on April 8th for their first dose, and then on May 6th for their second dose. We're planning on running anywhere from 300 to 400 doses that day. In addition, CDPHE will be here on Thursday. We'll be getting RE3 their second dose. So RE3 will be vaccinated after completed after the evening of Thursday. And then CDPHE will be back to vaccinate RE1 and RE2 for their second doses on Friday. So hopefully we'll be done with Fremont County teachers and they'll be vaccinated and good to go after Saturday. So we have a lot of new things that are coming down from the governor. March 24th, the new Dial 3.0 takes effect. He's announced that April 4th, he will be looking at that executive mask mandate that he has in place. He's shifting to, if counties are in level green, they can opt out of that mask mandate. He is also looking at possibly keeping the mask mandate only in school settings and in our long-term healthcare facilities. In addition to that, we're looking at April 16th, the dial no longer being in place. The dial will then become guidance for counties that would like to adopt that guidance. Also, public health orders for indoor, unseated, and mass gatherings will be updated. So we have a ton of new changes. Also, starting on the 25th, we will start counting, instead of the 14-day, we're going to start counting the 7-day incident rate. And so since we don't have a population here in Fremont County of 100,000, they went in and scaled it down. So as long as we stay between 0 and 16 for 7 days, then we'll be able to go in and move into that level green. So we'll reevaluate that on April 1st. So a lot of changes.
Right now at the 7-day, we're sitting at 15, correct?
Correct, yes.
Which was going to be my question, was
We are-
when can we go green?
Yeah, with that, we can't start on the 24th, we have to start on the 25th, so 7 days out will be that April 1st. So there's already discussion with CDPHE. They know that once April 1st hits, and as long as we stay underneath that 16, we're ready to move to green. So, and at this time, I'm not making, if the dial does go away on the 16th, April 16th, I'm not making any recommendations for Fremont County to adopt that dial. I would like to utilize it just as a tool and resource that we might need to come back to if we start seeing our numbers increase.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I know too, we had a meeting on Friday with CDPHE, and some of the proposed changes that we're going to hear about today when the governor drops it, you almost hate to say what we talked about because he kind of does what he wants half the time anyway and kind of floors everybody. So it'll be interesting to see the changes that come out. In my opinion, one of the changes that'll probably happen is restaurants can now have more people in them, but they're still at 50%, so it doesn't do anything for our people. So hopefully that changes to the 75%.
Yes.
Because just because you can have 500 in there, you're still at 50%, which ours have been at for months. So we advocated for that on Friday's meeting. I don't know what the changes will be finalized today, but it'll be interesting to find out.
Another thing is with Fremont County, we'll no longer have that limits on personal gatherings. Right now, it's no more than 10 people from 2 different households, so that's a good thing. And then we have been getting a ton of calls about the upcoming outdoor events that are going to be taking place, rodeos, festivals, and so one of the things that is a great deal is, or a change is, under us being under blue, we no longer have those capacity limits for outdoor events. Also, they'll be getting away from the outdoor variances. So we've had a lot of individuals calling us, can we get a variance? Which technically we can never run a variance in Fremont County, but all of that is going away. So
The chambers and Whitewater Festival organizers and everybody will be very happy with all of that news.
I am very happy to get that.
We all are very happy. Yeah.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
are.
I'm very happy to get that news. Also, another couple other changes is us being in blue, retail offices, non-critical manufacturing locations. Instead of operating at 50%, they can now operate at 75%. So,
And hopefully, like our conversation, that food industry is retail, so we'll see.
yeah, we have not got a clear answer to that one.
Yeah.
But this afternoon, it should be all finalized, so really eager to see that final document from the governor.
All right.
So,
All right, any further questions of Kayla? Thank you.
Just
Thank
thank
your
you.
staff again for everything you guys are doing. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure Commissioner Bell even wants the mic, but
Well, since you insist. So most of you probably have heard me talking before about Colorado Counties Incorporated and all of the work that we're doing there this year. It's because that's pretty much what I do all day long when I'm not involved in another meeting here at the county. So the Colorado Counties Incorporated Board had the opportunity last Friday to meet with the governor, speaking of Governor Polis, and we had a lot of questions for him. Some of them he answered, some of them, he's a politician, so we did a little bit of a dance. I think the meeting ended up being a good one because we did have the opportunity to talk to him about what has gone wrong here and why are communities like Fremont County still suffering with all of these regulations that have just put the thumb down and have just ground so much to a halt here. We talked about economic development. We did talk about the new Dial 3.0 that was coming, but it was a wonderful opportunity for us to let him know that voluntary compliance with masks and social distancing and those things, it is pretty much a thing of the past for a lot of folks right now. We had 2 counties who were present at that meeting with the board who stepped up and said, Governor, in my county, there's not a single person who wears a mask. We're done. We're over it. It's just not happening anymore. And so I think maybe he finally is starting to listen to the rural voices of Colorado because we feel like in the past it's all been directed at urban. And our argument now for an entire year has been that rural communities are not downtown Denver and we need to be treated differently. So I think the news that we are going to be able to finally regain control, because that has been our rallying cry for the last year, is return control to local communities. We know our community, we know what's best here. Someone sitting in Denver never will understand and they never are going to know what's the best for us. So it was a good conversation. He did say to watch for today and see what these changes are going to be. He also indicated that he thought we would be in favor of them and that we would like what he is getting ready to do. So in addition to that, on a CCI level, we've been working really hard still to advocate for all of Fremont County, for our rural communities especially, because urban communities in Colorado already have a really big voice. We are trying to equal that voice, so we never stop, pretty much. So I've been testifying on some bills up at the Capitol. I've got another one this afternoon that I'm going to be stepping in on and waiting my turn to testify, and some stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just a reminder, we're really busy with the state, with all of the legislation that's going on. If you have anything on your mind that you want to talk about, give me a call, send me an email. I'll be happy to talk. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Grantham? You good? I just want to kind of follow up on what Commissioner Bell was talking about and following the bills in the state and federal level. There's a bunch of them out there that affect local governments, especially rural counties. So we're watching those, and I will also want to encourage anybody that has a feeling about any of these bills, let us know. We're not aware of all of them. I found out about another one last night that somebody contacted me on that I wasn't aware of. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything at all, let us know at any point. Send us an email, send us a phone call, come by and see us or something, so that those are on our radar as well. Because there's a bunch of them out there, and a bunch of them are going to affect us, and a lot of them negatively. So we'll keep watching those. Okay, anyone else have anything? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to citizens who wish to address the commissioners of matters not scheduled on the agenda. Nobody's rushing the podium, so there's no one here. So we will move on. There's no old business. We will jump right into new business. And we have our Department of Transportation Director Tony Ademick here with us this morning. And the first item here is for aggregate chip for chip and seal programs. And we're talking about bid awards here.
Morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Morning, Tony.
I just want to let you guys know that February 11th, we put out a request from the vendors for material pricing, and on March 11th, we did a in-person opening of the bids with the vendors and that. We're looking at, on project-wise, we're looking at doing approximately 6 miles of road, and a portion of that's going to be in Rainbow Park, and the other part's going to be in the Copper Gulch area with that. The first bid award you're talking about is going to be for aggregate chip, and our recommendation is that we award that for 3/4 aggregate chip at $14 a ton to the aggregate source, and that's for the east area chip seal. And we will pick up the aggregate at the quarry.
Okay.
All right.
I will entertain a motion for his recommendation.
Sure, Mr. Chair, I move to award the bid for aggregate chip for the chip seal program to the aggregate source of Canyon City. This is for 3/4 inch aggregate chip rock at $14 a ton for east area chip seal, and Fremont County will pick up the aggregate at the quarry.
Has been moved and seconded to award the aggregate 3/4 inch chip rock to aggregate source. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to the next one, Tony. It's the award for asphalt mix.
For asphalt mix, our recommendation would be to award the bid to Fremont Paving at $61 a ton for half-inch mix. And we'll deliver to the job sites.
I entertain a motion for that recommendation.
Mr. Chair, I move that we award the bid to Fremont Paving for the half-inch at $61 a ton for the asphalt projects, and Fremont County will deliver to the job sites.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to award the asphalt bid to Fremont Paving. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 3 is for the tack oil bid.
TAC oil bids, we recommend that it is awarded to Suncor Energy out of Pueblo, Colorado at $1.81 a gallon. And then we will pick up at Pueblo and deliver to our own job sites.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move to award the bid for TAC oil to Suncor Energy of Pueblo for $1.81 per gallon, with Fremont County DOT delivering to the job site.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to award the tack oil to Suncor Energy of Pueblo. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the next one, Tony. It is the bid for Dust Guard liquid suppressant.
The recommendation we have is to award it to GMCO. They have a storage facility in Florence, Colorado, where we can pick that material up whenever we want. And it would be at 0.683 cents per gallon, and we will apply it to the road.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the bid for the Dust Guard liquid supplied from GMCO Storage Yard in Florence, Colorado at $0.683 a gallon. And our DOT will apply the material to the roads.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to award the dust suppressant to GMCO Storage in Florence. Any further discussion? Wish gas was 0.683 per gallon.
So do we.
Dreamer.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next one, Tony, is the bid for emulsion oil.
On the emulsion oils, this one, we use 3 different types of oil within our projects, and then also our asphalt patching. Our recommendations for the CRS 2P emulsion for our chip seal awarded to Suncor Energy at $2.01 per gallon from their Pueblo, Colorado plant. And we're going to contract with H&B Transport to deliver it to our job sites. The other is CRS-2P fog seal. We awarded also to Suncor Energy at 96 cents per gallon at their Pueblo plant, and awarded also for H&B Transport to deliver. And the last one is an HFMS-2P to Suncor Energy also, and that actually comes out of Grand Junction, and that's for them to deliver to our Canyon City yard.
What is the HMF S2P?
It's high float media solution.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion for that.
Sure, Mr. Chair. I move to award the bids as follow. All three of these to Suncor Energy from Pueblo. The CRS-2P emulsion for $2.01 per gallon, and the CRS-2P fog seal for 96 cents per gallon. Both of those will be delivered to required sites through a contract with H&B Transport. Also, the HFMS-2P for $2.81 a gallon, and Suncor Energy will deliver that to Canyon City.
Second.
Has been moved to second to award the emulsion bids to Suncor, as just mentioned. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
That's the end. Thank
All
you,
right.
Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank your crews for us as well, please. These guys are doing a great job. All right. I think we've got time before our public hearing for the Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation. Amanda, would you like to come up? Amanda Wright from our Department of Human Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm Amanda from DHS, and this is Tony, my administrator. So we're just here to talk about this important topic. And thank you so much for giving us the time today. Do you want to go first?
Good morning.
Good morning. Tony.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to raise awareness about child abuse and neglect. April has been designated as Child Abuse Prevention Month since 1983. Child Abuse Prevention Month was created because child abuse and neglect were both widespread and far too often invisible. Our children are our future. May be a cliche, but it's still true that the more adults can have a positive impact on a child's experience, the stronger our society will be. A safe, stable, and nurturing environment has a proven positive effect on children's brain development. Research shows that the children who suffer from prolonged stress of abuse and neglect tend to struggle in their behavioral, psychological, and cognitive abilities. Child abuse and neglect doesn't stem from just one cause, which is why stopping the cycle of abuse and neglect is so difficult. Addressing community needs by giving families services and supports has a great impact and costs much less than addressing the consequences of a child that has grown up. This county is very lucky to have so many great people in our community that are so committed and partner together so well to cultivate relationships, connections, and environments that help every child thrive. I see Bethany Lalage here from Starpoint, and they are a perfect example of the great work that community leaders do to provide prevention efforts for our children and work together to implement effective strategies that support families before they reach a crisis. Remember that our voices are most powerful together. Thank you.
It's no surprise that over the past year, a lot of families were impacted financially due to COVID. But another hardship they faced were children not being able to attend school in person, which is a primary support in our community. This led to more stress on families that were already facing financial struggles and now had to take on the role of teacher as well. The department did see a decrease in the number of reports of abuse and neglect. However, the reports we did see were more severe. Child safety is the focus of Child Abuse and Prevention Month, but without such great supportive services, families would have been even more impacted by this pandemic. We would really like to thank our partners for changing the way that they practiced to make services available for families even when face-to-face was not possible and when all of this virtually seemed impossible. This pandemic may have forced us to change the way we operate, but at the end of the day, it showed all of us that no matter what, we will continue to help the families of Fremont County. While the proclamation today focuses on April being Child Abuse and Prevention Month, as a department, we see on a day-to-day basis that prevention is truly year-round and not just for 1 month out of the year. And with that, this is a proclamation for April 2021, and I would just ask that the commissioners read the last part. Whereas children are key to Fremont County's future success, they are our future leaders, community members, and workforce. While children are our most precious resource, they are also our most vulnerable. And whereas children have the right to thrive, learn, and grow to their full potential, when kids thrive, Colorado thrives. And whereas the prevention of child abuse and neglect strengthens Fremont County's families and ensures the opportunity for healthy development of our children, which builds the foundation of our county and society. And whereas we must come together as partners to keep children safe, ensure that the voices of our children are heard by all, and extend a helping hand to children and families in need. Helping parents and caregivers build their resilience is one of the most effective ways of preventing child abuse and neglect. And whereas each of us plays a role in the prevention of child abuse and neglect, we encourage anyone concerned about the safety and well-being of any child to report it to the Fremont County Department of Human Services or to 1-844-CO-4KIDS.
And now therefore, we, the Fremont County Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in this board, do hereby proclaim April 2021 Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, and in doing so, urge all citizens to join in a national effort to raise awareness about this importance of preventing child abuse. With that, Commissioners, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would be honored to move this Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation.
Second, just with the note, thank you all so very much for the work that you do. I can't imagine what a struggle it is and how difficult it is to deal with these issues every single day. It takes a special heart to do the work that you all do, including our community partners here, and we desperately need you. So I just want to say thank you and recognize the fact that we do understand the job that you do.
It has been moved and seconded to approve and adopt this proclamation declaring the month of April 2021 Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Any further discussion?
Just ditto on Commissioner Bell's comments, and I really appreciate the work that you guys do. And I think this is probably one of the greatest things that you can do for our community when we start talking about dealing with child abuse and what you guys have to see and face. I don't think the general public has any idea that goes on sometimes. And I just thank you guys for the work that you do.
I too want to thank you guys for the work you do. Every time I hear child abuse, it just kind of sends chills. But and I know I've seen some of the reports because of the pandemic. You said some of your cases have dropped, but they've been more severe. In other places, they've risen. So it's pretty sad that that's happened to these innocent kids. And Commissioner Bell said, we need you. I think the kids need you as well. So appreciate everything that you guys do. And God bless you for doing it. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know that we have a public hearing scheduled at 10 a.m. I see that Ms. Shirato has arrived for that public hearing, but I would ask if we could go ahead and take care of item 7 under new business, National Public Health Week proclamation, so Ms. Marler can get back to work.
Probably got nothing to do, right?
Exactly.
Rhonda, you've got time to stick around? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we will move on to item number 7 right quick, and then immediately following that, we will have our public hearing, and it's National Public Health Week proclamation, and Ms. Kayla Marta, our Public Health Director, again. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and, since we're
Not, you can talk, we're not in that much.
Well, I got a lot
It's
of
all
reading
good.
to do.
It's all good.
So National Public Health Week is April 5th through the 11th, 2021. And so if I can just have you read that last section once I get to it, then we'll be good.
Perfect.
Whereas the week of April 5th through the 11th, 2021 is National Public Health Week, and the theme is Building Bridges to Better Health. And whereas since 1995, the American Public Health Association, through its sponsorship of National Public Health Week, has educated the public, policymakers, and public health professionals about issues important to improving the public's health. And whereas U.S. life expectancy dropped from 2014 to 2017 in the longest sustained decline since the Great Recession, and only in 2018 began to increase again. Further studies consistently show that the United States has a lower life expectancy than comparable countries, and whereas there is a significant difference in health status, such as obesity, poor mental health, and drug use, among people living in rural areas compared with people living in urban areas. And this variance increases because rural residents are often more likely to face social determinants that negatively impact health, such as poverty, transportation barriers, and lack of economic opportunity. And whereas public health professionals help communities prevent, prepare for, withstand, and recover from the impact of full range of health threats, including disease outbreaks such as the COVID-19 pandemic, measles, natural disasters, and disasters caused by human activity. And whereas public health action, together with scientific and technological advances, has played a major role in reducing and in some cases eliminating the spread of infectious disease and establishing today's disease surveillance and control systems. And whereas 6 in 10 U.S. adults have a chronic disease and 4 in 10 have 2 or more, and health risks such as alcoholism, obesity, and tobacco use are the primary reason for 7 of every 10 deaths annually in the United States. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has eliminated and exacerbated racial inequalities, and growing number of local, state governments, and public health leaders have declared racism a public health crisis.
Now therefore, we, the Fremont County Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in the board, do hereby proclaim the week of April 5th through 11th, 2021 as National Public Health Week 2021 in Fremont County, and call upon the residents of Fremont County to observe this week by helping our families, friends, neighbors, co-workers, and leaders to better understand the value of public health and supporting great opportunities to adopt preventative lifestyle habits in light of the year's theme, Build Bridges to Better Health. I do like royal rule families. I like that.
A little tongue-tied there.
See, you only got tongue-tied because our chairman was trying to rush you through that. So.
I'm going to blame it on him. No.
So I would like to say that I would really like to be able to say, please go and show your appreciation to our public health workers. Find one and give them a hug. But I don't think that's going to be very socially acceptable in today's world. So I'm not going to tell people, find you and give you a hug. But I am going to say this is a wonderful week for everyone to not only concentrate and focus on health, but to show appreciation and express our deep gratitude for what it is that you and your entire department does every single day. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve this National Public Health Week proclamation.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the National Health Week proclamation designating April 5th through 11th as Public Health Week. And what was it? Build Bridges to Better Health.
Building
Bridges to Better Health. Any further discussion?
Just that I think that the last year has probably brought more focus on public health than ever before in our lifetimes. And I really hope that it already has brought a lot of awareness to what you and your entire department do.
Absolutely. And thanks again for everything that your department is doing and all health workers across the country.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks
Thanks,
again,
Kayla.
Kayla. Okay, now it is time for a public hearing. We have a hearing on a renewal of a liquor license for PS Camping Incorporated. And we have Rhonda Schroeder here this morning. Good morning. This is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. And go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you so much for letting me appear before you this morning. Mr. McFall, I received a request to appear before the board regarding the renewal of my liquor license that is up at Prospectors RV Resort near the Royal Gorge. And I was able to take what Ms. Jackson had sent over to me. Being completely honest, 2020 didn't have me focusing on making sure that my liens were filed with the county courts. It was kind of one of the last things on my mind during that corona epidemic. And so therefore, what I've brought before council, and I'm hoping Ms. Jackson has disseminated the information, thank you, Ms. Jackson, to everyone, that the documents that were in question, we can start off, I'm not sure how you want to start off, but what I have been able to do in the last couple weeks is determine that everything's been paid in full. What I'm waiting on at this point is a few original releases of lien that are being mailed to me so I can get them to the county to release all of the liens that are on the property. The only amounts that did need to be paid, I worked through Ms. Kathy in the Treasurer's Department and paid the final balance regarding the taxes due to her. And so what I've compiled is paid in full letters regarding everything that's on the request, in addition to lien releases of everything that I have. So I'm asking today that the liquor license for PS Camping be renewed. And I'm also asking that the $100 late fee be waived in lieu of everything that we've been working on in 2020.
Okay, so this is not just 2020. This is 2017, 18, 19, and in the current 2020. Also, according to the treasurer, Kathy, you paid off the personal property tax, which was $2,179.52. There were some liens that were, I hopefully recorded. Those amounted to $4,335.51. However, there's an outstanding balance of property tax owed on 3 different accounts for a total of $111,264.30, and those also have liens on them.
Yes, sir.
So everything has not been paid, as your email states and as you just stated.
With respect, the property taxes were not on the chart of accounts that I needed to have prepared for today. And those property taxes, we'll just lay it out there. The property is being sold this year. We are in a contract that has been delayed, but the sale of the property should be happening at the end of July of this year, and all of those property taxes will be paid with the sale of the property. There was never a time that I was able to pay lump sums on my taxes. I kept talking to Kathy and we worked through a few things, but because of the way that these taxes have to be paid, once they go past a certain point, you can't make payments on them anymore. It would have to come with the whole year plus the fees and penalties in order to pay anything. And once it got to that point, there was no way that I was able to pull out $17,000 to $19,000 at the end of the year for property taxes. And I won't make any excuses. The electric bill with Black Hills Electric took all of the monies that the property was making, and unfortunately, property taxes was the one that got delayed. It's never my intent to defraud or to delay any of these type of payments, because I know our county obviously needs the money as well. I've been doing my very best, and there's no way that I can pay the $100,000 at this point in order to get the liquor license back, but I did everything that I possibly could that was within my ability, which was the final amounts that I paid to the treasurer. Everything else had been paid, and as I stated, the releases of liens have been requested.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
So you're saying that the property taxes would be paid upon the sale?
Yes, sir.
And if that doesn't occur? If the sale doesn't occur?
If the sale doesn't occur, I have been working on a possible personal loan that would total that amount that I can turn around and get that paid. that's what I can be working on if the sale, it even hiccups in the next couple of months. There is a chance that I'm going to have to take back over the property and open it up. Unfortunately, the people that are renting to own right now up there are having a very difficult time paying the rent, and unfortunately 2020 and COVID had an effect on them getting the loan, which was going to buy us out in January of this year. So they're still scrambling to try to get the money put together. In the event that they don't get that put together, and we have a meeting with them this next week, I am going to take over the property and have to open up for the summer, and then I will get a personal loan and pay off of those taxes so that they are paid this first half of this year. I can assure you that I can at least do that. And I've been working towards that just in case the sale didn't go through, because I understand we need to get this caught up.
Any further questions?
Not questions, but I do have a couple of comments. I know, Mr. Chair, just listed the different years that you continue to owe taxes for. And I first want to let you know that had we known this in previous years, you would have been called before us in previous years. We never again will let this go for 3 or 4 years before we bring someone in front of us and ask for an explanation. The only reason that it came to our, excuse me, that it came to our attention this year is we changed the way that we've done things, and we now are asking for the tax certificates, and we're asking for information that all of those various different taxes have been made. If that change would not have been made, we still wouldn't know how far behind you were and how far behind you continue to be. So I'm very grateful for that. Another issue that I would like to just point out is this has been a terrible year for all of us. And yet, you're the only one standing in front of us saying, well, because of COVID, I'm here now. COVID wasn't happening in 2017 or in 2018 or in 2019. COVID happened in 2020. And so I think it's a little bit of a falsehood to be able to say COVID has caused all of these issues and all of these problems for me.
I apologize, that's not what I meant to state at all. No,
That's
Black
how
Hills,
it came
I
across to me,
apologize.
so,
I
okay.
apologize.
All right.
That is not what I meant, Ms. Bell. I'm not going to blame my delay of tax payments on Black Hills Electric. I'm going to say that they were a significant reason why the taxes didn't get paid. Very significant reason. When you're trying to keep the lights on for your guests, unfortunately, it is what happened, and I can appreciate the 2017. I bought the park in 2014, and after a couple years of trying to deal with Black Hills, it just seemed to go downhill from there. So I do urge the commissioners to really get involved with the fight that we have with the city and Black Hills for this reason. And I can name several other businesses that you already know about that have gone out of business due to Black Hills' exorbitant energy prices. I know it's another issue, it's another fight, but it's not something that we can just brush under the rug and say it didn't happen, and it's not currently happening. All I can do is apologize that from 17 on forward, I'm going to own my mistakes, and all I can say is that I own this mistake, and I'd like to make it right. I'd like to be able to sell this property and get out from underneath the unfortunate situation that I've gotten myself into.
Okay, thank you.
So on the taxes that are due still, the $111,264, I just want to point out, everybody knows this, but that also affects the school district, Upper Arkansas Water Conservative District, Fremont County, Fremont Conservation District, Canyon City Fire Protection District. So it's not just one entity that is lacking in the funds, and there's significant amounts that go to those organizations. So have any more questions for her at this point?
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate the comments as far as, like Black Hills, et cetera. To be perfectly honest, I think it's completely irrelevant. But just for the sake of argument, I understand the difficulties of cash flow in certain situations, and some businesses during the last year thrived and other businesses didn't. But at the end of the day, if you chose to pay Black Hills to keep the electric on and not to catch up the 3 years prior of taxes, and if you had done the reverse and paid the taxes and not paid Black Hills, would you have electricity on up there?
No, sir.
So you're asking us to approve this license. You see the irony in this. We're talking about trying to have an equitable system here for all license owners and all property owners and all taxpayers here in this county. And when we look at what any private organization or private company, if they provide services and those bills aren't paid, then those services aren't rendered. And here we are, the county, who has not paid taxes. Are we to grant a privilege? And that is what you're asking us, to grant a privilege when something we have not been compensated for the taxes for the last 3 years. And so there's some hesitancy here. And there's a reason you're brought in here today over this. And that the choices being made, I don't want to belabor this, so I'll just stop there. If you have response, I'd be willing to hear.
I can appreciate trying to hold me accountable regarding a liquor license. I can appreciate that stance. You were honest, I'll also be honest, the liquor license isn't going to make or break Prospectors RV Resorts. So yes, it matters in the infrastructure of the business. I could pose a different question. If the county would entertain payments, I would be happy to start a bigger chunk of repaying that $100,000. But the restrictions as it is, I have to pay everything all at one time. So you're exacerbating the problem. I'm asking if we can work together, allow the liquor license so that the business can open and try to recoup this year when it wasn't able to be coming in 2020. But the liquor license in and of itself isn't going to pay the taxes. The liquor license is a very small income percentage at that particular business. So I'll forgo the liquor license if I could have some help regarding making the payments back to you. The money is what you want. Holding the liquor license hostage isn't going to help this situation. I need to be able to pay you. How can I do that on maybe smaller chunks, or be able to agree and help me pay 2017 plus its fees and interest in one check, then be able to move to 2018? I guess I'm asking for the help to right the ship, if you will, but I don't believe that refusing the renewal of the liquor license is going to help the underlying issue, which is paying the property taxes.
First of all, I don't think we're holding the liquor license as hostage for that. You've had 4 years to try to do something, and I don't know, Brenda, is that statute the way that those are collected? Is that per statute?
Whether or not payments would be accepted on property taxes is solely within the discretion of the treasurer.
The treasurer, okay.
And I have been working with Kathy just to follow up, and she knows me by face in there, and every time I come in and say, what can I do on this? The rules are the rules. It has to be 100% paid in lump sum.
Okay, and those are evidently her rules. She is an elected official and has that ability.
Okay, I didn't know that she had that ability. She intimated that it was something that the council would have to discuss.
Okay, any further questions for her at this time? No. This is a public hearing, so if there is anyone that would like to speak on this topic, now is the time. There's only 2 there, so either one of them are rushing up.
Is there anyone on Zoom, or are they even doing Zoom? No. Okay.
No. I think it's live on Facebook, but it's not for comments
Okay.
on YouTube. Okay, any further discussion before I close the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And ask the commissioners their wishes. First of all, I would just like to point out that, again, the email that Ms. Sherrod sent yesterday, she claims that she has paid the Fremont County Treasurer this $111,000, because she points out that it is in yellow, and these 3 accounts are not paid. Only the personal property tax, and then those few liens that we do have documentation of.
Mr. McFall, can I ask for an explanation? I apologize, but I didn't mention the property tax in the email because it wasn't on my list of things.
It's right here. The R accounts.
Those are paid.
No, they're not. That is the $111,000 that you owe. the R040366, R017572, R19452.
With respect, Kathy said that those are the ones that I just paid off in the $2,000.
No, that's
We walked-
$111,000, ma'am.
We walked through those items.
You paid the personal property tax, which is 150300. That was $2,100.
I apologize then because I was addressing every single item on here, and Kathy and I stood and talked, and she wrote on my paper, that's the amount of those right here, and how they lined up. So I apologize, there's a misunderstanding. I need to be able to please address those issues. I feel that you are accusing me that I made a misrepresentation and claimed that they were paid, and I didn't mean to do that. That is not at all what I was trying to say.
Okay, that withstanding, there are $111,000, $264.30 in property tax not paid, which is those accounts.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners?
So if you were thinking that these were paid, when in reality they're not, what were we just discussing a little bit ago during the public hearing? What are you...
My
Are there other
proposal?
accounts that you're thinking that are unpaid, or how much?
My understanding of going through each of these numbers with both Ms. Kathy and the county courts, the clerk in the county courthouse, we went through every single number, and what my understanding is that everything has been paid except for the huge $11,000 for the property taxes. And so therefore, what I was presenting was only the proof that all of that had been paid. So now my understanding is, not my understanding, I knew it was due all along. I don't want to misrepresent. I guess my question right now is, I understand that's still due. I own it, I acknowledge it, yes. And now I'm saying, help me pay for that. Here's my situation. Help.
So you understood that the 111 was still outstanding?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I knew that was still due.
All right,
Absolutely.
Okay, then that's what
That's
these
what I was-
accounts
I
are in your
know
email.
that's still due.
Yeah.
That
Apologize.
just happens to correspond to those 3 real property accounts on that email.
Okay, thank you. And yes, I understand that's due, and I want to get it paid. And I want to get it paid this year, whether that's in a personal note that I'm able to pay the whole lump sum, or if I can go and talk to Kathy and say, can I do $50,000 and then another $50,000? If she has the authority to do that, I would be happy to work with her on that to get it paid sooner than the July that I'm anticipating the sale of the property to go through.
Okay, so we need to get back to the liquor license at hand, because that's a different issue, is what you're talking about.
Okay.
We need to deal with the liquor license and move on from there.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion.
Okay?
First, let me preface my motion by saying that I know you've been before us multiple years in the past, asking us to help you pay for those exorbitant fees coming from Black Hills. I know you also have come before us many years in the past asking us to forgive the late filing. So another late filing, which we have always done.
Yes.
But again, we did that not understanding all of the back taxes that you owed through this property. And so I am not a person to ask forgiveness rather than permission. I think as a property owner and as a business owner, there is a huge amount of personal responsibility that is necessary in order to maintain those businesses and to keep those doors open. I do not feel that it is incumbent upon the other tax-paying citizens of Fremont County to allow someone to not pay their taxes and yet still personally profit from a business. And so for all of those reasons, Mr. Chair, I vote to deny the renewal of liquor license for PS Camping, Inc.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to deny the liquor license, renewal of the liquor license for PS Camping, Inc. Is there any further discussion?
I simply would note, good luck with the sale. I hope that things go well for you in that. And if it does sell, then a new owner would definitely be able to come in and to work with the clerk's office on a new liquor license.
And I appreciate what you've done so far in the last week or so of paying those others. I appreciate that. But it is unfortunate that it is 3 years behind, and now we're on the 4th year actually too. So try to get that done, and good luck with your sale. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, item number 8, is our Fremont County Accountability Report. And I've got control, huh?
Oh, that's a scary thing.
Duck and cover.
Read fast. All right, we're gonna kind of go through this accountability report. What we do on a yearly basis is get with departments, other elected officials, and try to get information of what happened during the year in their departments and the kind of work that they do. It's kind of just a good informational piece for anyone out there that's interested. This will also be available online if it's not already on the county website for anybody that wants to look at it. And also feel free to ask questions about it to any particular departments or elected officials or us or whatever. So we'll get started on the 2020 Accountability Report. I got to do that, huh? Fremont County elected officials, of course, Clerk Justin Grantham, Sheriff Alan Cooper, Commissioner Debbie Bell, Commissioner Tim Payne, Commissioner Dwayne McFall, Treasurer Kathy Elliott, Coroner Randy Keller, and Assessor Stacy Seifert. Oh, we say her last name wrong. No, sorry, Stacy.
Well, now you apologize the first time you got it right?
I know. There's just a picture of the 3 commissioners. On a yearly basis, we also have Employee of the Year, and we have nominations, and those are given by folks from the departments of someone that they feel went over and above in the year. This is the name of the employees that were nominated this year, and COVID being as strange as it made 2020, we had a hard time. The elected officials get together and have votes on the winner of this, what is it?
$1 million prize.
Award, thank you, lost the word. And we kind of had a tie, so we voted again and had a tie. So this is the first year, and we'll blame it on COVID like everything else, but we had two employees that were awarded Employee of the Year, and that's Mike Miller from the Sheriff's Department and Sarah Miller. I don't think there's any relation there either, from the Health Department. So congratulations to those, and appreciate everybody else that got nominated, as well as all the rest of the employees of Fremont County. That's a summary of the budget. I'm not going to go into that because there's a lot of numbers there, but again, like I said, this will be available online, and anytime that you want to see it, it'll be there for you to look at. Commissioners' accomplishments. We had a hard time when CARES money came out, as we've mentioned many times in this meeting. The bigger counties, 500,000 people and higher, got a direct allocation from the Treasury. Well, the smaller counties didn't. It went to the state. So along with other rural counties in Colorado, we advocated to get some share of that COVID money, and we were able to do that. A little over $4 million was split between the counties and municipalities in Fremont County. The county's portion, a little over $2.2 million. We gave out many, many grants, and I wish we could have given more if we'd have had more, to small businesses, churches, nonprofits, to help with the cost of COVID, and eventually, after some more advocating, some of the lost revenue that those folks endured during COVID. So it's great to see those numbers, and like I said, unfortunately it wasn't more than that, but at least we got some to help many, many businesses, 154 of them to be exact. We also purchased a property on East Main Street, which used to be, if you're familiar with the Atmos gas company. It's for the wildland fire, search and rescue, emergency management, and the noxious weed. We call that the Fremont Emergency Response Center. We've done some remodeling on part of it. We've got to do some more on the other part of it yet, but it's coming along nicely and working out well for those departments. We also, as Sonny mentioned at the first of this meeting, the EP Brownsfield Assessment Program, 6 Phase 1 assessments and 12 Phase 2 assessments. We secured a $1 million grant through DOLA, Department of Local Affairs, to help with the Pathfinder Community Park building, that Pathfinder Park Community Building, I said that all squirrely, that's about to get some ground broken out there, and we'll start seeing that happen pretty quick. It's pretty exciting. The airport. just out east of town. And this, he's got some stats of the fuel that they sold. That's I guess the biggest moneymaker out there. They sell quite a bit of fuel depending on the year, sometimes more than others because of fires. I'm going to say that real quietly because we don't want them to sell fuel because of that, but that happens. There's a picture. We remodeled the office out there. It was very outdated and not very user-friendly. This is pictures of the before and after. It turned out really nice. If you're just running around, need something to do, stop by and check out the airport. At the fuel pump, they also installed a credit card so that they can just drive up in their plane and get fuel without an attendant having to be there to help them. And it goes in the taxiway. There was a FAA grant, which was 100% funded. Initially, it was supposed to be 10% on us, but with COVID, that turned into 100% FAA funded, but they reconstructed the runway, and so that was a great deal out there. There's some of the swag, I guess you'd call it, that he's got for sale at the airport. I forgot where we were going here. How far was I going? One more. Another 50 or 60 pages? The building department. This has totals on there. It might be kind of hard to see if you're looking online. It might be a little easier, but the numbers of building permits have went up, increased, which is surprising with everything that's going on and the cost of materials, but there's a lot of building going on. And more activities in the building department. Several slides here with that. Now we get to CSU Extension. 2020 was a tough year for 4-H and the fair and everything because of not being able to have meetings and different things like that. A lot of people were excited and then bailed out because of COVID. They couldn't get together and the enthusiasm wore off. So hopefully the extension agents will get that going back and make it better than ever. This is a picture of last year's fair grand champion steer buyer. And then the right picture there is a board that's posted down on, is it 5th Street? 5th Street on the side of the building of the buyers from the previous year of all the animals at the fair. The Extension Department is very proud of the Master Gardeners program. And the Master Gardeners are some awesome folks that love to garden and love to teach people how to garden. So if you ever have any questions about that, come see the Extension office and get hooked up with those Master Gardeners and learn how to do it the right way, their way. I think you're up. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I am going to be going through the slides on the Department of Human Services, Department of Transportation, Office of Emergency Management, and Planning and Zoning. I will note that two of those folks are right here in the room, and I think they're holding electric buzzers for when I get something wrong. I just can't help but be paranoid about the fact that they're sitting here listening to my summary of their summaries of an entire year. Anyway, we'll start with DHS. We were actually given a good snapshot of what they do out there just with the proclamation that we had today on child abuse and the things that they have to see on a daily basis. But here is their mission and core values. Compassion, collaboration, customer service, integrity, and if you know any of the employees out there, you know that fits them to a T and the work that they do. COVID community response, like every department, everybody had a particular response over the last year. DHS in particular had a COVID shelter. They provided shelter for 12 adults and 4 children. Additionally, food distribution and support, as you can see there, and homeless outreach and support as well, providing masks and hand sanitizer. Program summary, obviously they were different last year due to COVID-19. The restrictions, the funding that came in, the policy changes, and there's a brief list and bullet points of all the different things that they had to to adjust to in order to accomplish their mission. Just some graphs on some of the monies that come in and some of the different numbers that they dealt with over the year. Food assistance obviously went up during last year for, I think, what are obvious reasons with COVID and the need for assistance. Same thing with Medicaid membership spiking during the last year. This is a 2019, I believe it's 2019 versus 2020 in the red on the child welfare assessments, which actually went down over last year versus the previous year. Just some more graphs and charts that you can look at in more detail. I believe this will be online, Sunny? Yes. Right. Adult protection assessments, 2019 versus 2020. And that's it for DHS. And just another shout out to them because they do an absolutely fantastic job out there in the most difficult of circumstances. And Dwayne and I and Debbie talk about, some of the things that I just don't understand, how people are built to do those jobs, and I commend them for that because that'd be tough to see what they see on a daily basis, to be perfectly honest, and they do the Lord's work out there. Now, Fremont County Department of Transportation, and I'm ready for the buzzer in case Tony's down there ready with it. So we look down here, and you probably want to see this online if you look at this on the website. All the work that DOT did over the last year. I won't detail each and every project. That would probably take us the next hour. But here's a long list of chip seal projects, chip seal leveling, gravel, dust suppressants, cattle guards, concrete pans, culverts, bridges. Just a whole lot of work done over the entire county, and a lot accomplished by our Fremont Department of Transportation. We also see the water resources that are used, and maybe folks don't realize this. Our Department of Transportation uses a lot of water, and here's where a lot of that water went to over the course of the year in their projects and how much that was. Here we see some cooperative projects, right-of-way projects, some grant funding for projects, WPA, the Sheriff's Department, etc. Pathfinder Park, regular maintenance out there, plus parking lot work, and hopefully we'll see a whole lot of more activity out there after this next fall when we get the things completed. Fleet services, just an idea, an overview of what's going on in the fleet, the vehicle fleet, how many vehicles we have added and disposed of, repair hours for each department across the entire county. And let's see here. How'd I do, Tony? Was that all right? Whew. I didn't feel any buzzes over here, and so
what do you think he's going to say?
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Now, Fremont County Emergency Management. Again, they did a lot, and Michael put this in some pretty small print because they do a whole lot of stuff. And adding COVID to that over the last year only exacerbated the amount of work that the emergency management does overall. But a lot of the other things that they do, including our emergency plans, wildfire recovery, which, knock on wood, we didn't have a whole lot of that to do last year, and hopefully we'll be able to say that exact same thing this time next year. Knock on fake wood. COVID response, of course, he's been instrumental. The department's been instrumental in helping with COVID response, as well as our vaccine clinics and stuff. He's been part and parcel with the the great efforts that have been taking place at the vaccine clinics. We also see search and rescue operations, hazard communications, all hazard communications and drills. He also has a list of some of the grants that were secured to help with the operations there in emergency management. Trainings and meetings, this just continues. Many of the things that he works on a daily basis over there. New ambulance inspection, licensing, some interagency work. That's a long list of many of the things that Michael Kroll and his crew are doing over there in emergency management. Now, there's another guy getting ready with the buzzer. Fremont County Planning and Zoning, and of course, Sean Garrett is our director. And we'll just motor right on through this. Here we see the list and the applications, permits, licenses, reviews, and how that's all broken down, and the work that Sean's department is doing upstairs. We also see planning and zoning, the code enforcement, and just another breakdown of where code enforcement and what they're doing with physical addressing. And on this slide, between 18 and 19, with the one of note to me is 265 addresses were issued, which I think is pretty significant given the fact that we're in a otherwise tough year, but there are still 265 new addresses created. Number of inspections, of course this goes across the board between medical marijuana, kennels, special review, conditional use, board of zoning adjustment, home occupations, etc., and site visits. And this is just another graph of all the work that Sean's department and his crew are doing and did. And again, Sean, I'm not going to detail all these, okay? Don't buzz me. And I'm sure that it'll be of particular note to some folks. Marijuana violations in 2019 was 21, then down to 16 in 2020. Oh, I need to hit the clicker over here. I can't see through this plexiglass all the way up there on the wall, and so I'm doing double duty here on clicking mine, and then I got behind. So there's violations overview and summary. 46% of the cases are closed, but you will notice on that fourth bullet point that 100% of the marijuana-related cases are closed. And I found it interesting on that last bullet point that some of the zoning districts are responsible for most of the violations, and I think I'll have to have a conversation with Sean about why that is in those particular zoning violations. Here's another good project that the department is part of, the Helping Hands and County Cleanup Project, and we've seen good results from that with areas that were unable to, for whatever reason, to clean up and to take care of the violations for the debris on the property, and the Helping Hands and County Cleanup Project helps to alleviate that. And here's some pictures of some of the projects that were successful at cleaning up, including one here in Penrose. And there's some of the costs that were associated with those cleanups and the cleanup projects. And that is it. No buzzes. That was successful. Commissioner Bell.
Okay, so I have the opportunity to start speaking first with public health. I would like to note we probably need to change this slide a little bit and add Emma Davis as director, because Emma was our director for the first half of the year, and then she moved back home to Kentucky, and that's when Kayla came in. So if we could maybe get that changed. We all know how busy Fremont County Public Health was over the last 12 months with COVID. But what we want you to understand with our presentation today is that there are many, many other things that public health does and actually did continue to do throughout 2020, even with that happening. Here's a breakdown of all of the different programs. We're going to briefly address each of those here in the next few slides. And this also shows that we had 14 full-time equivalency workers in 2020. So immunization program, one of the things that we do here is we give flu vaccines to a lot of folks, and then of course right now the COVID vaccines as well. So here are some numbers for the clinics. We had 1,502 patient contacts. 2,060 vaccines were administered, including 989 flu vaccines last year. We have a maternal health grant that we run for the Baby and Me Tobacco-Free program, which is just a program like it sounds to help pregnant mothers stop smoking and continue as a non-smoking person when that baby is born. So there are some different programs they can go through. There are a lot of different incentives for doing that. So if that might fit you or someone you know, please contact Public Health to talk about that program. There are some other maternal health things that happen. We've got maternal depression and referrals, as well as postpartum depression. And so please keep in mind that those are available at Fremont County Public Health. We have a Best Start program for Smarter Parent and Safer Baby. We also participate with the Fremont County Breastfeeding Coalition to get babies off to the very best start possible. Overdose data. We have an opioid overdose prevention program, hired a new program coordinator at the end of July last year. This is in partnership in conjunction with Lake, Custer, and Chaffee counties as well to be able to get programming to all of Region 13 here in Colorado. We have a state tobacco education and prevention program, the STEP program. They work quite closely with the Colorado Quit Line. There's a lot of help available to you if stopping smoking is something that you're interested in, or stopping chewing or any of those other tobacco-related different activities. There's a lot of help available to you, so please keep that in mind. Communities That Care has gone through 5 years now of a lot of different iterations. We kind of reformed, revitalized, and we accomplished some very impressive things last year, including we transitioned from phase 3 to phase 4, then we transitioned from phase 4 into phase 5 with the completion of the coalition's community action plan, and we completed that in December of 2020. There are a lot more changes coming. We did not receive as a county another 5-year grant to continue to fund CTC. So we're kind of talking right now and figuring out what the future is going to look like. But what I can tell you and assure all of you, the program is not going to go away. This is a program to help empower the youth of Fremont County take control of their own destinations and to curb and prevent substance abuse as well as truancy in school. So there are some pictures of some of the things that happened last year with Communities That Care. Up next is the Substance Use Prevention Grant. So there are a lot of things happening here in Fremont County also with public health and preventing and treating substance abuse. One of those things is we have been able to partner with the Green Thumb Initiative here in Fremont County to implement evidence-based life skills program for young people throughout Fremont County. So that's one of the really exciting things that we've been able to do. We also have epidemiology and laboratory capacity for infectious diseases. This one is ELC. It's another grant that was utilized to hire 2 full-time COVID-19 response positions. And that's probably what they mostly did last year. But they also were very active promoting what they did and letting folks know what their jobs were and how help was available through social media. So we thought that was a very active and great program last year. Vital records, birth certificates, and death certificates also are done at Fremont County Public Health. They provided 4,390 birth and death certificates in 2020, and that was all done even with all of the COVID-19 closures and restrictions. So good job over there, ladies. We also have environmental health in FCPDHE, and this includes the retail food establishments, licensing, inspections, taking care of complaints and those things. She does school inspections, child care inspections, body art inspections for those facilities that provide that. She also works hard on temporary and special event food establishments, except maybe not very hard last year because we didn't have many of those events happening last year. But she also will deal with different complaints, and Amy Jamison also was instrumental last year in providing the COVID-19 response. There are other miscellaneous activities. We also talks about cats and dogs and skunks and rats and bats and all different kinds of those things through zoonosis, which those are always interesting and lively conversations when we have our monthly Board of Health meetings. There also was some revenue that came in that was used for different programming and different things. I think Emma before her and now Kayla both have done an excellent job of finding and being able to receive grants to help fund the many, many programs that they do. Communicable disease and emergency preparedness. This slide basically talks about our emergency department working hand in hand over the past year with Fremont County Public Health and all of the coordination that happened. They worked very, very closely together to schedule and run the drive-through clinics, both for testing as well as for vaccinations, all of the walk-in testing and vaccinations. Our emergency management department and that director, Michael Kroll, were instrumental in helping our public health department deal with all of those things this year. So our public health improvement plan includes 3 top priorities for Fremont County. Those are behavioral health, including mental health and substance abuse. The second is tobacco with smoking cessation, youth prevention, and the maternal population, and chronic disease. We have a very high incidence here in Fremont County of obesity, diabetes, cancer, COPD, and heart disease. So those are the top 3 priorities that we try to schedule programming to help folks deal with those issues in their lives. So turning next to the Sheriff's Office, our Sheriff Alan Cooper did provide us with information this year for our accountability report, so we appreciate that very much, Sheriff. There he is in all of his uniform finery, along with Derek Irvine, our Undersheriff. Civil Division, these are some different statistics for what that department did out there this year: 673 civil court services, 292 criminal subpoenas, 136 protection orders were served, and just all of those different numbers you can take a look at there. Concealed handgun permits were up in 2020. A lot of folks being very concerned right now with protecting home and family, so there was an increase of applications up 110 from 2019. So a total of 341 new permits, 314 renewals, and 10 of those actually were denied. Personnel update in the Sheriff's Office. He was able to increase personnel by 8. He added 3 corporal patrol positions, 1 detention investigator, 1 full-time and 2 part-time administrative deputies, and added a case manager. I think one of the most exciting things that we've done through the Sheriff's Office last year was to be able to add deputies here in the administration building and in the Department of Human Services to handle those issues that do arise almost on a daily basis. Detention Center and Transport, we had 30 individuals arrested out of state on Fremont County warrants. 7 were extradited back at the direction of our district attorney. Detention Center and Court Security, they screened over 45,000 courthouse visitors last year, which was a decrease of people accessing the courthouse because of COVID. Here are also numbers on things that were seized as contraband, different arrest numbers as well. And detention center housing, the average daily population absolutely reduced in 2020. There was a lot of interest in the courts in getting as many folks out of the jail as they could get because of COVID. So there was a reduction of 27%. Our average daily population was 111. Total number of incarcerations, however, was 1,734. Here's some information on investigations. We had 204 new cases plus 42 that continued from 2019. 96.5% clearance rate, which is, I think, a pretty high clearance rate, so congratulations to all those folks on that. 3% were deemed inactive, with 42 current active open cases, 17 under review at the district attorney's office. Narcotics investigations, there were 22 with 19 filed and 33 arrested or summoned. We also had seizures of 4,752 grams of methamphetamine, as well as 2.54 grams of heroin and almost $18,000 in cash. So our patrol department at the Sheriff's Office, average staffing of 21 deputies and sergeants who are divided into 2 shifts. Last year, they responded to almost 12,000 calls for service. So you can see the breakout there, different kinds of calls and where they went. The clearance rate for those calls is at almost 50%. Items destroyed and disposed of included 5 firearms. There were 333 pounds of drugs, narcotics, marijuana, a lot of drug confiscations as well. Animal control services is very important to folks in Fremont County. So you might be interested to know that there were 200 animal violations that were written and 173 animal impounds. Search and rescue also is a huge part of the Sheriff's Office here. Those folks are all volunteer. They went on 42 missions last year, which included 1,019 man-hours. So we couldn't do it without those folks. They're really an amazing group of people. All right, up next is Fremont County Veteran Services Officer Marty Peak. Marty does a great job with our veterans here in Fremont County. You can see here some of his statistics. He completed about 4,400 telephone calls and voicemails, 466 office visits with appointments. He participated in 80 outreaches and actually going home into homes to visit with folks as well as meeting them in other places. Received and wrote 65 correspondences, which did not include emails, and processed 313 government and Veterans Administration forms.
And he's part-time.
I'm sorry?
He's part-time.
And he is part-time, yes. He only works half-time. He is in the office 20 hours a week. Marty just has a heart for this work, and we are also deeply appreciative in what he has been able to accomplish for veterans here. So there's his contact information, which also is available online if anyone thinks maybe they are a veteran who is not receiving all of the benefits that they should, or if you have a family member who is not receiving all of the benefits they may be entitled to. Give Marty a call, set him an appointment, come in, sit down, have a conversation with you, and he will help you work through all of that red tape that is the United States government. Also, our Fremont County Weed Department, led by Brittany Pierce, she has done an excellent job. Since she came in, she has worked with all of these different partners as shown there. This is a job she absolutely cannot do by herself, but she has a lot of partners in this. She also goes into a couple of other counties that she contracts with to be able to perform the services that they need to help control weed management. She does some different cooperative services and projects as well. Here's a summary of the field work that she did. She works very hard on all of those List A species, which are the ones that are the most damaging to our environment here in Fremont County. So that is it. Thank you, Fremont County, for another great year. I just would like to briefly say thank you so much to not only all of our department heads and the other elected officials who participated in putting this information together. There is a vast amount of information there, and I think it does a really great job of explaining to all of our constituents what we did with all of the money that Fremont County had in 2020. And if you're wondering why we don't have everyone represented there with our elected officials, it's because they didn't give us the information. So I know some of them, I believe, are working on their own reports to be able to present to the public at some other time. So I think that's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Hopefully we can get other elected officials. Has some information. It is good information. There's a lot that goes on, and it also lets you know what the staff has been doing. and the time that they spend, because they do a lot of work in all of the departments. All right, thank you. That took a minute, but we got through it and glad to do it. So we'll move on to item number 9 on our agenda, which is an appointment of a new member to the Penrose Library District Board of Trustees. We got a letter of recommendation from the library director. There was a position that came open, and they recommend that we appoint Sandy Johnston to the Penrose Library, and her term would end December 31st, 2025, if appointed.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I would. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I would move that we, I need to get the,
That's okay, I got it, I'm
You
ready.
can please
All right.
go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I will move to appoint Sandy Johnston to the Penrose Community Library District Board of Trustees with the term ending December 31st of 2025.
and I guess I'll second that.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to appoint Sandy Johnston to the Penrose Library District Board, term ending December 31st, 2025. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, item number 10 is a resolution repealing resolution number 40, series of 2012, thereby eliminating Fremont County Local Licensing Authority hearing procedures and penalty guidelines, deferring to and adopting the Colorado State statute and regulations for liquor license hearing procedures and penalty and guidelines. I'll ask Ms. Jackson to say a few words on this resolution, please.
Okay, over the past few years, the state of Colorado and legislature have revamped the entire liquor code, beer code, and other provisions. They have created a new title in Colorado Revised Statutes, which is Title 44, and that's where you'll find everything on liquor licensing, beer licensing, special events permits, and marijuana. So the Department of Revenue wanted to consolidate all of these statutory provisions that were scattered all over the Colorado statutes, just because of how things have been enacted over the years. So that was done, and in conjunction with that, the state legislature also simplified the hearing process, violation penalties, and other aspects of liquor licensing. In 2012, the Board of Commissioners adopted their own hearing procedures by way of Resolution 41? 40.
Yep.
Series of 2012. Simply because the state process was unwieldy and unclear, and so it was easier for liquor license applicants to read our local resolution and determine what potential penalties were out there and how the hearing process would proceed. In the revamping of the liquor code, the state has corrected many of these discrepancies and vagaries and have actually simplified the penalty process and the penalties that are can be assessed for various types of violations. And so with the state process improved greatly, there's little need for a local process any further. And so rather than having two different processes, which can be confusing to licensees, the county is eliminating the local hearing process that was adopted in 2012 and deferring to the state statutory and rule process for liquor violations.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jackson. It's a great explanation of that. Yeah, Commissioners, I'm open to a motion, or if you have any questions or comments on this resolution.
I think I might be able to do this.
Got this
I don't
one?
know.
All right.
He's ready.
We'll see. I would move for the approval of resolution number 19, repealing resolution number 40, series of 2012, eliminating Fremont County Local Licensing Authority hearing procedures and penalty guidelines, deferring to an adoption of Colorado State statutes and regulations for liquor license hearing procedures and penalty guidelines.
I will second that with a thank you to Ms. Jackson for explaining this to the public so well.
Yes.
Absolutely. It has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 19, which you just so eloquently read. Is there any further discussion? I would like to point out just one more time that this does repeal in its entirety Resolution Number 40, Series 2012. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We move on to the next item, which is a resolution establishing fees for liquor license application, processing, and inspection. And once again, I'll ask Ms. Jackson for some clarification.
Well, Mr. Grantham could probably address this one as well.
Yeah.
In the process of repealing the old local procedures, the clerk's office noted that some of the fees in the adopted fee schedule for liquor license applications have been changed, and our old fee schedule was outdated. So this is updating the fee schedule in accordance with Title 44. And I would note that these are only application fees and other types of special application fees, not the license fees themselves. The license fees are set by statute, and we have to follow those. We don't have discretion. The application fees and some other permitting fees, the local authority, which is this board, does have discretion to set those fees. And so there are very few changes, but it's a good idea to have an updated application fee schedule, again, for clarity to liquor license applicants and licensees.
And when will this take place if we approve this today?
Today.
Today. Okay, immediately.
Thank you. I'll ask Clerk Grantham if he has anything to add on this before we proceed.
County Attorney Jackson did everything eloquently, except for my statement, of course. I can't speak today either. Just note that it's because we did repeal Resolution Number 40, it's just great to have something more up to date that we can keep track of, and as things change, we'll notify Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
So this will be Resolution 20?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution Number 20 of 21, establishing fees for liquor license application, processing, and inspection.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution Number 20, Series 2021, for establishing fees, liquor license applications, processing, and inspection. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move on to I believe it's our last item.
It is our last item.
Wow. Okay. It's a resolution adopting a policy regarding animals in county buildings. We've always had a policy of that, but never formally adopted that policy. So that's what we're going to do today, possibly. And we have a resolution, basically, employee and customer pets are not allowed in county buildings, which includes the sheriff's office, the courthouse, this building, all buildings owned by Fremont County. That does exclude service dogs. Any comments, commissioners, or?
My only comment was going to be what you just said, to the exclusion of service dogs. Other than that, if there's no other comments, I'll make the motion. Mr. Chair, I move Resolution Number 21, adopting policy regarding animals in county buildings.
I believe, Mr. Chair, we were also going to add the following resolution, amending the March 2019 edition of the Fremont County Personnel Policies and Procedures
We are.
Manual.
That'll take a different resolution number.
Okay, so we're going to have
We'll just do
two
it.
separate motions?
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 21, adopting the policy regarding animals in county buildings. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And along with this adoption of that resolution is another resolution adding it to the personnel manual, added into Chapter 6, 6.44, which basically is the same thing as the resolution for adopting it, no animals in county buildings. It would be Resolution Number 22.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Resolution 22, amending the March 2019 edition of the Fremont County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, Chapter 6, Working Conditions, to include this policy regarding animals in county buildings.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution Number 22, adding this to the County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, Chapter 6, 6.44. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with no more business before us, we are adjourned.